Hey, folks, one of the Redneck Country Podcast. You are on with Real Redneck Todd Millard. And, of course, we've got the almost guy, Real Redneck Bill Tom. Bill, are you there?
I am here, and it's a beautiful night for a podcast.
Well, we got some thunderstorms rolling through around here. But
they've just gone through, and it was absolutely scary for a short period of time.
Was it? It's pretty dark. But I thought the one now, just before we started here and we came down into the studio, was I even said to my wife, this is the kind of thunderstorm that I would sit on the front porch and watch. It's just light enough that it feels breezy and airy, and the rain coming down. It's kind of one of them cool ones. But
the roof stayed on your house and you're still good. So, yeah, it's a great one.
I'm not clacking my heels. We are good to go. All right. And sitting beside me, as always, the patriarch of Redneck Country, my father, Real Redneck Todd Millard. Dad, is your mic hot?
It's hot. I'm here. I just beat the rain, too, coming in the front door when it started.
Just beat the rain. I texted him, are you coming? And then I looked up and he was walking through the front door, and then the rain started coming down.
So you had that timed out quite well. I appreciate your ability to control the weather like that.
It never rains on me.
Oh, good grief.
I keep telling them when we head out Wednesday nights to the gun club, oh, look at the clouds. It's raining. Look at this. I said,
every night but Wednesday. Why Wednesday?
Yeah. And I keep telling them it will not rain while we're shooting. And it never does. It's either just rained or it rains after we're done.
Unless it's a competition.
Yeah. And then it goes sideways and all different directions.
And then you're 9 targets from 100 straight and they blow the horn to get off the line.
Yeah, I had that happen. But I got my cup of tea and my clear podcast mug, and I'm good to go.
Outstanding. That's the best way to go. I'm telling you right now. It was my cup of tea delivered as well just before the podcast started. And I'm thinking it's going to be a good chat tonight and just bouncing back and forth here. We've got a lot to talk about tonight.
I think we do. I think we have a lot to talk about because we are now. Summer's pretty much kicked off, so we're active.
Yeah, we're in high gear for all kinds of stuff here. Yeah, so let's talk about outdoors. So I think you need to go first. I know it might be a dangerous thing, Don, to have Todd talk at the beginning of this. Nobody else is going to get a word in, but we can try to hear a little bit about some kayak bass fishing tournament.
I'll keep nudging that. Yeah. So where did we leave off on my last venture? So. Got the kayak. We already know that. Got the trolling motor. Got the fish fighter. Got everything. Battleship. It's ready to rock. We've done the test runs. We've done all that jazz. I went on.
We're at the point now. Fast forward all the way ahead. Is if everybody's listened to the previous podcast where we've had you and T-Bone Turner on bugging you about your bass fishing tournament experience or lack thereof. Yeah. Well, yeah. and now you're entering a tournament last weekend past, right?
Well, yeah. So, and it was, yeah. So what I found out after I entered the tournament was you can't use a motor. So that kind of set me back a little bit, but we're still going through with it. So my brother-in-law has now bought a kayak, and he's like, ever since going to mine. So he bought one right before the tournament, and he's like, let's do it. And we got him outfitted, got him ready to rock. We loaded him up on a trailer. We headed north. So we drove 3.5 hours. We fished. It was the Tri-Lakes. So Pigeon Lake, Buckhorn Lake, and Camacha Lake or something like that. I can't remember what that one was because I wasn't even going to fish it. So luckily, so the deal is you have to launch. And so there's so many rules, and it blows my mind. So I went on ahead of time, and I told you about the intro for new participants.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good experience for you.
And I was saying, the guy, he was kind of like, here, let's get this over with. Don't text me, blah, 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 blah. And so I hadn't really felt him out. So I looked at the weather forecast and seen that it was going to be windy and rain. All freaking day.
Terrible
it's still
going.
It's still, as far as I'm concerned, it has not stopped since last Saturday. Like it's been, now we're 6 days in or something like that. So it's been absolutely insane. So we said, okay, we're going to do this thing. So they have a captain's meeting on, I thought, what can I do? If it's going to rain and just come straight down, and okay, the wind, maybe the wind stops, but if it's just coming straight down, I just hate being like that wet. So yeah, I'll get a rain suit, but I went and bought a beach umbrella, and I thought I'll hook this thing into my. Well, hold on. I thought I'm going to hook this thing into my fishing pole holder. And that's perfect because it's high enough. It's out of my way. I'm sitting down. This is genius. And then if it is windy, Who cares if I can't use a trolling motor? Now I got me a sail. So anyway, I thought, all right. So I went and bought it. I put it on. I made a post on the tournament site, and I said, hey, I just checked the weather. First time tournament goer, folks. Just letting you know, if you see this kayak screaming by you like a racing sailboat, just mind your own freaking business. And I put it up there. It's kind of funny. And what do I get back? But the gentleman that runs the tournament says, you're not allowed to use anything but manpower to move your kayak. So you cannot use that as a sail. The rules state. I'm like, dude,
come on, give me a break.
Totally joking, but then I'm thinking, wait a minute. So I was almost gonna fire back, and I was just, that's who I am, and then who else I am is a bit of a antagonist. So once I see something, I have a hard time. And my brother-in-law seen it, messaged me. He's like, don't do it. Don't. You're gonna get us kicked out before we even get there. Because he knew what I was fixing to fire on there. But regardless, I was going to put back. Well, does that mean that I can't cast a line unless I'm anchored? Because drifting is not man-powered. Yeah. That's water, which is nature, which is the same as the wind.
I'm really surprised you didn't get kicked out of this tournament.
Yeah, I know. I think the only saving grace is COVID rules. I don't have to meet anybody. I can just go and launch. But so because of COVID rules, you don't have a blast off. You can go from any public, and the way that the rules are stated is you just can't launch from a private spot. So you can't have like my parents own a cottage there, or your uncle or your friend, and go to the cottage on the lake and launch from there, because it has to be open to anybody. You can pull over on the side of the road, find a spot, drag your kayak in, and as long as anybody else can, you're good to go. So
you got equal rights, equal opportunities, I guess, for everybody.
Yep. So I found a cottage that was right on the lake we wanted to fish, Buckhorn Lake, which was recommended by the Almost guy. Yep. And Mr. Bill Tom himself. no, thank you, Bill. But I should say that.
You know what?
I'll get there. I'll get there. So we rented a studio cottage. I said to my brother, I already got a cottage. Yeah, like I had it rented before he was coming. So I said, I already got a cottage. We're good to go. So I get there. My only concern was the launch. After I got thinking about it, was, wait a minute, are they going to disqualify me because I'm staying I've rented a cottage at a resort, and they got like 15 cottages in their own dock. And I even said to you, Bill, do you think this is going to be a problem? The night before, I thought, man, maybe I'm violating a rule because I rented a cottage and not everybody can use this dock. So I called and I said, hey, your dock, is it public? And they said, nope, you got to rent the cottage, use the dock. I'm like, uh-oh. So I thought, okay, well, when we get there, maybe we'll drive around and see if there's just a spot we could dump in, or we go find a public boat launch and pay whatever we got to pay, or a conservation area, whatever we got to do. So screw it, we're still going. I still got the cottage book. Let's figure this out. It's an adventure. So away we go. We start a trek off. We get there. I get to the cottage. Well, the way that it worked was the cottage is right on the side of the road. And it's a fire route, and it goes right up to Buckhorn Lake. And so like the road ends at Buckhorn Lake, and right to the left is the docks and their office building. And our cottage is just 3 cottages back from the office building. I pull over on the side of the road, and I'm at the cottage. And so the ramp to use maybe my wording was wrong, because I asked the guy at the cottage, can anybody use your boat dock? And what I meant was to dock a boat. Maybe me saying boat ramp, because
I think the confusion was a little bit
probably there. And I was just like, okay. And I didn't tell him I rented the cottage. I just was calling. And so when I get there, there's a big sign, public boat ramp. There's no fees, no nothing. It's fees. Public.
See, that's awesome.
And it's right there on the road, like that I'm parked on. It goes right into Buckhorn Lake, right where we wanted to be, dude. It was perfect. The only problem was I can't use my freaking motor. So morning comes, 6 a.m. You can be lines in at 6. So we're going to be on the water before that. So we get up at 5 and getting all our gear ready, drag our kayaks. Well, there's other guys coming down with kayaks. So now I know we're good, because they're all using the public launch. And away they go.
In the tournament too?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There's 107 entrants.
So you ran into other people that were in the tournament?
Oh, I'd say about 7 or 8.
No kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
I figured with body of water that big times 3, obviously.
Yep.
I figured he would have read nobody.
Well, you wait till you hear this. So, said to my brother-in-law, Bill says we got to go up towards the Narrows. So away we go. Well, that's left. Well, the wind was 25, 30 kilometers with gusts of I don't even know what. I mean, on Buckhorn Lake, it's not dangerous. It's just to give you the idea of how much there was whitecaps out there. And they're not huge, right? They're not swells, but they're whitecaps, just to show you what the wind was doing to the water. It was turning her up. So my brother-in-law says, well, let's go. So we start paddling. Well, as soon as we get out of the little inlet we're at and hit that open water, it's Drift City. So we drift for an hour out in about 9-10 feet of water and didn't catch anything as we're going. And there's other guys out there with us. One guy had a pedal kayak, and he was pedaling along into the chop and going right along a little drop-off ledge because I got a fish finder. I know what he was doing, and just kind of trolling. You can troll under manpower, so he was just kind of trolling along. And I knew you could tell the guys that are in the tournament because I mean their kayaks are decked out. Your recreational kayak does not look like a fishing kayak that is in a tournament. So. I knew what he was doing. We drove. I said the wind started to pick up even more. So it got to be 7:15. I said to my brother-in-law, before we drift any further, our anchors wouldn't even hold us. So I said, before we drift any further, we better see how hard it is to paddle into the wind to see if we can get back to where we came from. So, because you keep going and then you want to drop your anchor to take a break, that anchor ain't holding you. You drop your anchor and you lose all the ground you just made up. So I start paddling into the wind, and oh my gosh, I'll tell you what, Bill, that was some work. So I'm paddling and paddling. I said to my brother-in-law, all right, we ain't making it to the Narrows because we keep going. We aren't coming back. And if the wind picks up, if the wind died off, great. But if the wind picks up, I'm concerned we're screwed. We're going to be heading into Buckhorn to the dam and calling a cab to go back, get my truck to come back, pick up our kayaks.
What's wrong with that opportunity?
Well, and we might have done her. But I thought, no, I wanted to go the other way because what I wanted to do is get out of the wind. There's got to be an alcove, like a little island, a tree.
A little inlet or something that I could get into.
And there just wasn't going towards the Narrows. It just wasn't there. It was wide open. So my brother-in-law says, well, I'm going to go across the other side because that looks okay. I'm like, man, you are nuts. But you go to town. And we had radio. We were in contact. So away he goes. He takes off. Well, I head closer to shore. So I'm in about 4 feet of water or so. And I thought I'll just fish for some largies up in here. And at least it wasn't as bad as right out in the middle. But I mean, it was still some work. And so I paddle along. I'd anchor down in there. And my anchor still wouldn't hold me, but it'd slow me down enough that I could fish a little bit and paddle up. Well, let me tell you what, that 1 hour of drifting was 4 hours of paddling to get back.
You're nuts.
It
absolutely
was, dude,
crazy.
Obliques for days, let me tell you. And I'm in a very high sit on top kayak. My brother-in-law, his is a sit on kayak, but he's lower. He's like sit up. He doesn't have a chair that bolts down and sits up like a lawn chair. Like mine's up like a lawn chair. So he's down and he's got foot pedals for his feet. So when he pushes, he can put all of that weight right down through his feet and use his legs to help him paddle. I'm sitting in a lawn chair, dude. It's all arms, shoulders, and oblique, like ab muscles. No, let me tell you what.
You couldn't convince me that this is a good idea.
But you know what?
It had to be all worthwhile because of the amount of fish that you caught in this tournament.
Just hold on now. Don't get ahead of yourself.
Hey, we only got a short period of time here before 2 other people need to have conversations. So,
well, let me tell you, I'm paddling my butt off, and I get all the way back to where the cottage. My brother-in-law finally comes, and he meets up with me, and I was stopping to fish. I never caught a darn thing there. I talked to another guy, had some hits on top water because I finally got fed up, just went to top water, but nothing was eating it. They'd pop it, they'd hit it, they'd grab it and pull it under, and I couldn't set the hook quick enough, or their mouths were too dang small. They didn't have the hooks. So, and ran into another guy, says, yeah, I caught 5 on top water so far, and he said they're not biting nothing. He says, I caught 5, but all too small. Got to be 12 inches to enter in the tournament.
There's a slot size.
Yeah, 12 inches. 12 inches and bigger. You put them on your catch board. You have your little tag there to your identifier that says that you've entered the tournament. You don't get that until the night before on Facebook or in an email, and you write it on the card with the identifier number and your name. So then you put the card, you put the fish down on the catch board, and then you take a picture and submit it, and then that's how you do it. Which has got
to be a process all in itself.
Which is a pain in the rear. You got that much wind. Try to keep that tag down without it blowing away and landing in the water or flying down inside your kayak and the fish is flopping on the freaking catch board and you're trying not to have it jump in the drink.
Honestly, these are some of the things that you should be asking some of the senior veterans. How do they do it easily?
I got it. I know it. I just didn't want to do it yet. They now, the one guy has a card, like you go to a business conference, you get a name tag. So that name tag, they have a strap. They put it around their hand with that card in it on the back of their hand. They hold the fish down with that same hand. There's your card on the catch board. Take a picture.
See, those are the little tricks that would make it a lot easier.
A lot easier. So I just haven't had the time to do it yet. But regardless, so get all the way back. Brother-in-law meets up. I said, okay, we got to go across this. It looks like there might be a little alcove going the other way. We went the wrong way this morning, going the other way. So we roll up, and now here's the cool part. Here's the funky part. So there's a guy. Yes, there is an alcove. It goes back into some trailers, and they have some docks back in here. So we can get out of the wind. Problem, there's a nice weed bed right there. As soon as you come around the corner, there's a dude already fishing it. And as we're rolling up, he pulls in a largie. And he puts it on the catch board, and he takes a picture, and he fires it in. So my brother-in-law rolls in behind him, and I thought, there's not real lot. I want to still be able to fish. There's not a whole lot other than that weed bed to fish, so I'm going to go past and just see if there's something up ahead. So I paddled up, nothing. My brother-in-law catches one right behind him. Not big enough to put in to register in, but catches one, lets it go. He's like, he calls me, you got to get in here. Like, I just caught one behind this guy. So I rolled in and I thought, this is ignorant, right? Like, I don't want to fish near this. Is this guy's spot. He was here first. I seen him already pull one in. So I paddled by. Hey, I said, I'm not fishing to just show you that. No, I was getting out of here too. It just happened. It worked out for me. And I'm like, it really did. I watched you catch one. So I anchored down in there just past him and did a couple casts, not near the weeds where he was fishing. And he pulls in two more and puts them on the catch board. Some nice largemouth bass. So as I'm sitting there, there's a bridge, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to go under that bridge. I'm going to fire to the other side. Some guy from the trailer comes down, throws his rig, both these guys now are using the exact same rig I was using, a wacky worm. This guy throws a wacky worm under the bridge. He pulls out a largemouth. You friggin' idiot. You're not even in a tournament. Get out of here. So brother-in-law comes up, and we went down, get out of the wind. Anyway, that guy, needless to say, I finally caught one at 2:50. 10 minutes to go. Tournament ends at 3. I come right out in the middle. I said, screw this. Let's go back out the deep water and let the water push us back towards the cottage. So I go way back out in the deep water. My brother-in-law, he's got 2 registered. I go way out and into some weeds. I'm fishing around, and I just said, you know what? My anchor's not holding me nothing. Screw it. I'm going right through the middle of these weeds, and they're like the straw sticking up, right? It's like an island, but it was still 5 feet of water out there. So I just went right through it, and it slowed me down. It still pushed me through them, but it slowed me down. So as I'm going, I'm fishing in it. And I get to the other side. I do one cast just on the outside before I hit open water, and I'm gone from the wind. And I'll be darned. As soon as that worm hits the water, bang, I got one. Now I got 10 minutes to get this thing in the boat, on the catch board, the tag. I'm in open air. I am moving back towards the cottage like you wouldn't believe from the wind, sideways, and I'm trying to get this card so that it will sit on my leg with the fish on the catch board so I can take a freaking picture and at least register one fish before 3 o'clock. Let me tell you what, it took me 5 minutes to take that freaking picture. So I finally did get the fish back in the water, make sure he's good. He kicks water up in my face off his tail. I paddle. I'm like, okay, I got 4 minutes. Paddle like a madman to get back to that spot. I didn't catch another one. I get in, I dock in. The guy that caught those 3 in that little inlet was just getting his loaded up in his truck when I got there. And he says, that's a nice kayak. He says, I like that. He says, that chair, I was watching, you could go 360. He's like, that's really neat. I said, yeah, I built it for a motor, not thinking you could use one. And he's like, well, in the Bassmaster series tomorrow, you could use motors. Are you in that one? Oh my freaking gosh. Are you serious?
so there's an actual tournament. See, and this is you, 110% you, not doing enough research to figure out all elements of it. I didn't think that motors were allowed and you were going to be paddling all summer. But now it turns out that you can actually enter tournaments.
Oh no, I'm not done.
Oh,
so this that guy gets second place out of 107 and takes home like $1,600. Those 3 fish.
With those 3 fish. Now, let me ask you, is it an accumulation of
it is 5.
The lengths?
All length, 5 of them on the catch board, put them in, and then they have somebody apparently that verifies that. Then they say, we can tell it's not the same fish. There's ways to tell. Like, yeah, okay. So, but yep, that's what it is. So, it's pretty cool. I mean, like the format is really, really cool. I won't lie to you. It is kind of neat. I won on a draw. I won a neck buff and a t-shirt. I don't know how I'm going to get it because COVID, you couldn't go, but I was just cool that guy was using the same rig as me, wacky worm. I'd have rolled in there 10 minutes earlier. Those 3 fish might have been mine.
Could have been. I mean, it's all, see, and I don't think so, because the way you fish, it doesn't sound like that it's the spot. It sounds like it's the angler. And,
I'm 120% going to disagree with you. I mean, not that I'm arrogant or trying to come off egotistical.
No, not at all. I've never heard that statement in 79 podcasts. Not that I'm being arrogant or anything.
So yes, the end of July, there's another one of these tournaments where you can only paddle. The day after, there's a Bassmasters one where you can use a motor. So I'm all over that one. So I messaged to find out, what do I got to do to enter this thing, right? Like and so it's under Bass Nation, and then it's the Kayak Bassmasters under Bass Nation. Bass Nation, I found out, is the parent, and there's like 30 bass clubs, fishing clubs underneath Bass Nation that ties down into the states. And so you can do the provincials, and then you could do, which qualified to get you into this U.S. tournament, which is like the North America, the World Championship for kayak bass, which I'm like, wow, I didn't even know it was that big. So I'm learning. So I'm like, this is cool. So how do I get in? So I message this Kayak Bassmasters, which is under Bass Nation. I message directly, and I get a message back that says, oh, you can't. I'm like, why can't I enter? Well, because you had to become a member before June. And I'm like, okay, that I get it if it was a club, but this is like a fishing tournament. So what's the big deal? You're turning away. I said, because this comes to my gun club thought process, right? And getting folks out. Why are you turning away a potential new member that just got a kayak and really wants to get into this and could perpetuate and, bring more eyes to it? Hence my brother-in-law, maybe talk the almost guy into coming and getting a kayak and coming out.
You're trying. I know you are. You're doing a really good job of trying to promote this kayak thing, but everything I've heard from your kayak experiences says hard pass.
So I'm doing a negative thing for it. That's why. Maybe they're not that dumb. But yeah, so I said, well, this doesn't make, I said, that's fine, right? Like, I'm not going to fight you. Rules are rules. Just explain them to me, because more competition's always usually a healthy thing. More money is definitely a rock solid thing, and more publicity you would think you'd want to build this up. So why would you have something where you couldn't allow people to, it's just a tournament, right? Like, let me enter the tournament. And they're like, this is the rules. We're part of this Bass Nation. You can't, So I look it up, and guess who it is that I'm talking to?
Who's it?
The same dude that runs the other one.
So you guys are already long lost companions from.
And again, he may be a good guy. COVID, I've never met him. It's only maybe he doesn't know who I am and my personality of joking with my umbrella or asking the questions on the.
You know what I mean? Even if it was, I know from the rodeo trail, you want to start the rodeo trail mid-season, no problem. Oh, you just lost the opportunity for all the points. For the first 3 rodeos.
Who cares, right?
So what? Who cares?
It's $100 for the other riders to split the pot.
Well, and you might still have a chance of winning the individual day or the rodeo itself, or even being lucky enough to run the table and get yourself, somewhere into finals. And if these guys are trying to promote the sport and make it big, you want to get, like, to your point, everybody that they can have a positive experience.
Right.
Put the kayak in the water and fish.
So what is it with these organizations? Help me here.
Well, how do you know that you want to do it for a full season next year? Dip your toe in the water this year and get a few tournaments under your belt, or even one. as a trial and then say, you know what? I really like this. I'm going to invest more at time and money next year and carry on with this. It's silly. That's an absolute silly thing not to let people.
Right. That's what, like, why not just let somebody enter? I'm still perplexed. I don't understand. You want to grow something such as this, and you can't tell me it's not in its infancy for the most part. Right?
No.
Like, have you heard about it? You're an outdoors dude. You fished and hunted your whole life. Dad is? Never heard of it. So to me, that's a problem. Why haven't people heard of it? Well, maybe I'm finding out now why. It's like this little close-knit thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't want to open it up. But to be fair, well, I'll talk in a minute there. But when I went fishing today, kayaks all over the fishing kayaks all over this.
There's a tournament on right now.
But is a tournament all over Ontario?
Yeah, all Ontario.
Yeah, okay,
I'm in it. So and I can use my motor. 30 days. It's the full house. You need 2 smallies and 3 largies, or 2 largies and 3 smallies. It's got to be a combination of 2 and 3 by length. So it started July 1st, goes to July 30th, and then that's on the one I'm allowed to participate in. In the other one, the Bassmasters, there's a 4-day one, Canada Day through till Sunday. And then there's another one, a Kingston tournament on as well.
Yeah, I don't know if these guys are fishing tournaments or not, but definitely they were fishing.
If they're fishing kayaks, you pretty much. My theory, right? If they're all decked out, they got the poles up in the air.
Oh yeah. They were all decked out. Yeah. I mean, they were they weren't as nice as yours. I'll give you that, but they were fishing and they weren't doing great. But I mean, they were on the water and. I tell you, I've seen more kayaks now that you started talking about yours than I have ever. So
see, it's the podcast.
Yeah, it could be. It could be the podcast shirt.
I mean, not that I'm an arrogant or cocky guy that would take accolades for it. I definitely don't think it's the promotion of the other. I shouldn't say that. I'm so facetious. But yeah, no, they probably are fishing the tournament, because I know me and my brother-in-law, we were in Log Point Bay yesterday, all day, 11 hours on the water.
And?
Oh, my brother-in-law, he registered 2 good smallies. So I figure I know lots of spots. I'm going again tomorrow morning where I know there's some hogs. Largemouth should not be a problem.
With all respect to your brother-in-law, how did you do?
Well, we wanted to talk about him, I thought. You talked about enough about me. You kept saying, Todd. So, okay. He, first thing in the morning, 3 feet of water, nails 2 smallies. And I'm talking, one was 19.5 inches, one was 18 3/4. And to give you an idea, he put them on the scale. One was over 4 and one was almost 4 pounds. So those are decent smallies.
That's respectable.
And I think
that's what you go to.
Yeah, that's what's going to be my hardship. So I tried hard. I bet you I was 7 hours trying to get smallies in what I would call in the smallie water, till we got frustrated because, again, freaking wind. But I had my trolling motor. So then which is, buddy, it's a game changer. I mean, I could just.
Well, it has to be.
It is a game changer. So,
because I tell you right now, it was a trolling motor that's on my boat. I ran that all morning today, and without it, I wasn't catching half the fish we caught today.
I don't have to pick my paddle up and move and then have to anchor. I don't care about the anchor. I just hit the button. And so I've got it clipped on my belt. It's on a retractable lanyard. I got my line in the water and I start drifting the wrong way. I just hit the button and it pushes me back the other way. Turn it off and just keep fishing. Yeah. It's like, so I had the hangover, man. We went into the canal where there's a bunch of cottages and we're fishing up along the docks and that. And there was people out at the fry shack. Long Point was hopping yesterday. Let me tell you, it was awesome. Cool community. People are going by boats and I'm standing up. It's like I'm on a surfboard with the trolling motor coming into that area and I'm fishing all the boat docks as I'm coming in. And people are like, that is so cool, man. And I'm beaming from ear to ear. Friggin' right it is. And I got to admit, it's pretty friggin' cool. When you're standing up there and it's got this thing on my belt and I'm just casting in and then I'd reel in and just kick it over and then cast in again, position myself better, cast it again. And dude. And I never sit down once. I'm just standing up there. Like my brother-in-law's on the other side. Oh, I'll go see how he's doing. It's like I'm riding a powered surfboard. Right over to him.
Yeah, it is a pretty cool option you got for the electric trolling motor on there.
So yeah, it is cool. It is cool. But I ended up catching 2. I ended up catching 9 largemouth and a sunfish. biggest sunfish on the planet because, of course, I caught it. But I couldn't get a picture because I didn't want to lip it. I think it had teeth. But the largemouth, I was able to register 2 in the tournament. 2 were over 12 inches. 1 was right on 12 inches. The dang thing jumped off the catch board before I got a picture. And being a kayak, you ain't got a whole lot of boat. Right back in the drink.
I figured there would be some. I knew that was going to happen to you. Either that, I'm surprised you still haven't got wet yet and gone swimming.
Oh, it's so rock solid, dude. It really is. It really, really is.
Yeah, but I'm not even talking about the kayak going. I mean, you would go, chasing after a rod.
Almost setting the hook. Don't set the hook too hard.
Yeah, well, that would be the other thing, too.
You're not on TV, Todd. You don't got to bend your back.
Yeah.
When you do, you might lose your balance a little bit.
What do you think about all this, Don? You think he's going to have a chance to win the tournament this year?
I have no idea. You know what? He's persistent, and he's always out on the darn thing. I'll say that for him. He's just got to get his systems down pat where he doesn't lose the fish or let them flop back in and that kind of stuff. That's all. Who knows?
I used to watch the old Bassmaster Classics and Hank Parker. Back in the day. Yep. Yeah, he's an old school bass fisherman.
You're aging yourself now. He had a cool show.
I'm good with that. But he lost a bass fishing tournament because of the exact same thing. He went to put it in the live well, and I remember this because I wrote him back in the day. Before the
you had a pen pal. You were pen pals with see, we're podcast pals with T-Bone. You were pen pals with Hank Parker.
Yeah, I wrote Hank Parker, and then he wrote me back and his autograph and stuff. And in the letter I sent to him, I still have that actually. I should dig that up just for podcast.
We need a picture. We need a picture.
Yeah, but I wrote back and said, "Hey, it's really good to see that you're actually human." In the fishing world, or something to that effect. You don't need to let the other guys win by throwing fish back in the water. And he kind of made a jest back and gave me sent back his autograph and stuff. But
he's like, that was a $300,000 fish jerk that you're making light of.
At the time, I'm sure he was not impressed about throwing off his fifth fish back in the water. So, yeah, if you get to Hank Parker's level and you're able to laugh about that later on, then you're doing quite well. So
we will see. Well, my brother-in-law's doing pretty good. He's doing all right. So tomorrow morning, I'm thinking we're gonna nail some. I'm gonna nail some big large.
You're out tomorrow morning again.
We got a spot that this tournament you can go to any public body of water, right, and fish. And so I got a spot. It's a public body of water, but it's very well hidden. We know it amongst our buddies. Well, we had Kevin and Petey on, and we know it as Basstopia for that very reason. Kevin went out on yesterday and caught 71 largemouth and said he lost 10 and 2 snapped his line.
Wow. It's quite the spot.
So it is. It's really.
I have one of those memes in my mind where you tag a friend that still couldn't catch a fish in this area. So
I've been there. I've caught some fish, so I'm pretty pumped. So he messaged me. I'm supposed to meet him at. I just got a message again. Now I was confirming. He's like 5:20. I'm like, whoa, what?
That's a little bit early.
So I said, "Are you serious on the 5:20?" I got to check my messages.
Well, yeah, I got it yesterday and today.
So that was mine. I only took a little bit of time there. Bill. So I know you got out.
Yeah, you know what? It's been a good 2 days. I don't know if I have quite the experiences that you do with things going wrong, because things went right for the last 2 days. But I finally got the boat in the water to do some fishing with my son. And yesterday was kind of the maiden voyage for him and I to go together. We went to Lake Simcoe. And I was super nervous about Lake Simcoe for no other reason besides the weather. And like you said, it's just been one of those weeks where every day you look at your phone, rain, thunderstorms, 70%, 90% chance of thunderstorms.
It's been nonstop. It's been ridiculous.
It just won't quit, But I said to him, we're going to book the launch time because you got to book in, in 5-minute intervals. We've gone over this before. But we booked in for 7 a.m. the first time slot that we had, they had available. And I pulled in at just 6:40 to get 20 minutes worth of teaching experience, teaching him how to, get the boat ready to go on the water. Because there's a little bit of work to do between, everything from loading the fishing tackle in to making sure that the plug's in the back of the boat. The big things, small things, he's just got to learn. And today, from what he learned yesterday, the kid was like the best helper ever. He had his system, I had mine, and it took one day worth of lessons, and I got solid help.
Are you making a mini me?
Well, he's
Do we
trying.
need to save Hunter? Is he does he have notes? Did he take notes?
No, he doesn't take notes. He's
might be hope for him yet.
But yeah, he's we went out in Lake Simcoe yesterday, and again, like I said, we wanted to get out early just so that we could get ahead of the weather.
Hold on. Does his laundry stay in the dryer, come in front, and does he live in front of the dryer? From in front of the dryer, where is it into the washer? Does he put his clothes away?
No, they never make it to that level. They're on the floor of his room like every other teenager. Yeah. Is this clean enough to wear to work? Is this clean enough to wear to work? Yeah, go ahead.
Can you smell me?
Yeah. You need to wash that. It's been on the floor for a week. Yeah,
but anyways, outdoors folks only need to do.
Teenager. What do you expect?
Well, and outdoors folks only need to do laundry from October to December.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, yeah, he was a trooper though. He was up before me. He was excited about going. He got his stuff ready the night before. We practiced tying knots because he didn't want to waste the time in the boat learning how to tie knots. He's into it, and I respect that, right? He's a 15-year-old kid that could be.
Maybe I need to be sending him all these deals I'm finding on kayaks.
Yeah, right. He's a 15-year-old kid with no money, so don't send him those. But he was excited about going yesterday, and we got out in Lake Simcoe, and we learned a few things. We had an almost guy moment where I thought the motor in the boat was toast.
See, and that's why I don't like big boats, Bill.
Well,
you're out there in the middle of the lake. You're reliant on that thing. It's not like the side of the road and we're in an overpopulated world. Now you're you're out in the middle. And if a storm rolls in, see, in a kayak, you paddle your butt off. You're safe.
Yeah, but all that stuff is learning. Right? And I'm the same way. I get nervous about big bodies of water. I do not like, Lake Simcoe for the same reason that you just mentioned. A storm rolls in from nice bluebird day, and all of a sudden you're in swells, and now you're in trouble because I'm in a 16-foot aluminum fishing boat. Top speed on it is 30 kilometers an hour. It gets rough quick, and I get nervous. So I'm partial to what I went on today, which is a smaller body of water, which I can feel a lot more comfortable with. But out in the middle of Lake Simcoe, and I get 5 kilometers away from the boat launch going towards Cook's Bay, because I wanted to fish the bulrushes and weeds and stuff shallower first thing in the morning. Motor quits. Oh. And I'm thinking, oh no, here we go. And I text I'm looking at the motor now, and I'm thinking, it's a little warm, but it's not too bad.
Were you panicking? Anxiety setting in?
Well, it is, but now I'm going into the motor. I've got a full battery with the trolling motor. It's not choppy. If I had to right now, it'd be a long goal, but I could get back to the boat launch. So I started the motor back up, and sure enough, it went. And I said, okay, well, maybe it was AirPod. I don't know what it was. So I started texting my dad because he's a guru on all this stuff. I go to him, and I'm sure you do the same with your dad when you've got a problem that you give him a text, a phone call, an email, and ask for his opinion or his advice.
You want to weigh in on that, Dad?
It's nonstop. He's always got a problem.
Nonstop. I was thinking the other way around.
Do you know where I can get 3/8 washers? If you got a hole cutter, where do I get one of these? Can I use your battery? Mine ain't charging it. No, it goes on and on and on.
What is that?
The truth.
Bill,
that's what that is.
From now on, there's a new thing with this podcast. Before you initiate conversation with my father, I must clear all questions. This is like the White House. Dad is Biden. Okay?
Yeah.
He's not answering a darn thing until I've read them first.
I truly believe that one of the things about our podcast is great is the genuine nature of the conversation and the truth that comes out.
The genuine. What was that? That was, come now. I start calling him Sleepy Don.
I'm going to tell you, Bill, it was the truth.
Yeah, no doubt in my mind.
It was no doubt in my mind.
What's with the Grover now? It's like...
So like you, I contacted my father and I asked, hey,
like you,
what do you think? I said, fishing's great. It's a bluebird day out. We're not catching anything yet, but I said, I think the motor's acting up. And what he said,
did you put gas in it?
Did you open the vent cover in the gas can? Or the gas tank? I'm like, nope. He says, you might want to try that. Yeah. And sure enough, I opened it and went, okay, well, there's all the air that was vacuumed up and sucking the fuel out of the motor right back into the tank. And sure enough, I haven't had a motor problem since. So we finally solved that issue in about 25 minutes, half an hour into the panic mode or whatever it was. And so now fast forward a few minutes.
Hunter learned a little bit more. Hunter learned a little bit more there.
These are all life lessons.
I keep saying it. You can't learn if you don't make mistakes. So darn it, I have a hard time learning.
Yeah, so I could. Yeah, right. Oh wow, we're not skipping over that one. But I called my dad afterwards, and I just gave him the lowdown on what the day was, and he said, "Hey, you know what? Don't think I didn't learn that one from experience too." So he did it as well. So, anyways,
he was just trying to make you feel better.
Probably, this is what fathers do. That's why your dad pumps you up so much too. Right?
That's what fathers do.
Yeah. But we figured that out, and then we're going to go to Roach's Point, which is an island that goes from about 4 feet of water down to 30 feet in the channel. Beautiful rock clearings. Everything is working out. Going to work out well. It's waypoint number 4 that I've saved in on my list.
Look at you figuring out that navionics and the whole idea. It's taking you right to spot. Oh, that was one of the biggest things that was a success for me the night before. I finally figured out how to upload waypoints from my computer to my navionics, from that to my Hummingbird. I have your account. I could have went in there and deleted them if I'd have known that, right? You'd have got out there in the morning. I could have moved them on you, put them all over.
You can delete everyone from Lake Simcoe because not one of them caught me a fish yesterday. So, but I finally got to the spot where I thought I was going to have to was going to have to start, doing arm exercises because my arm was going to get so sore from reeling in fish. And my son says, "How long are we going to be out here?"
Oh, Hunter!
I said, "Yeah, I don't know. We got quite a bit of time left." He says, "Well, I really have to go to the bathroom."
Oh,
I'm like, well, the motor's back there, wide open space. Do whatever you got to do. No, but it's not that. I'm like, finally start marking fish, seeing fish after about 3 hours worth of
Didn't
trying.
You take a baggie?
Failing. Yeah, and I said to him, you need to listen to our podcast because there's definite life lessons that you could have learned. And sure enough, we the clouds are starting to roll in a little bit, and I think his bladder saved us because on the way home the clouds opened up and we got rained on. But that's what he's saying. So Lake Simcoe yesterday for us was a bust. I'm still learning the lake again. I'm nervous about the amount of distance I need to travel with that boat to catch fish, only because it's a smaller boat. Anyways, long story short, we passed on Simcoe and we went to a new body of water today.
And hammered.
So, yeah, we did quite well for everything. I had so many almost guy experiences today. It wasn't even funny, but we went to Upper Big Shoot, and I have no problems telling everybody where we went today because it was great. And if you want to try catching fish there, by all means. But long story short, do the research before you go, and don't talk to the same guy I talked to, because you'll be waiting in your van for 2 hours before you can get on your boat launch. So,
now why do you say that, Bill?
Yeah. So I called earlier in the week. I called to the Trent Severn lock system. You can call each individual locks. I didn't know this. I found that out last week, and I asked him. I said, "Hey, look, I'm coming up. Anything I got to know? Can I launch my boat in the public launch that's there?" "Nope, you can't. It's closed now." "Oh, okay." I said, "Well, okay, it's COVID stuff. I understand that." He says, "No, that launch has been closed for a couple of years. Nobody wants to do the maintenance on it, blah, blah." I said, "Okay, what's my options?" He says, Big Chute Marina, which is right next door to that launch, opens at 7 a.m. You can get on the water then, no issues. I'm like, great. I mean, 7 a.m. is still an hour later than I wanted to get on the water, but at least I know that there's a paid ramp with parking, safe, secure, easy going, don't have to worry about it. And so Hunter and I got up 5 a.m. this morning, because it's an hour drive from where I live. Candace is an absolute trooper. She got up with us, made coffee and sandwiches, and packed a cooler for us so that we have something to eat on the way. And we loaded all up and hit the road. So hit the road at about 5:30, because I wanted to get there for 6:30 in the morning so we could get the boat ready. And we get there and it's closed. Big closed signs everywhere. The marina, the restaurant, this, that, the other, closed. And I'm thinking,
and that irritated you just a little bit. See, and I would still be in awe that my wife packed me a lunch.
Yeah. She packed me a lunch the day before too, but I didn't bring that one up. So,
my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. She did. She packed me a lunch and kicked me out the door gracefully.
That stops.
Have a good time.
That stops over 40.
Yeah, you think so?
I know so.
Well, yeah. So we waited. I looked. I drove around to see if there was a public launch to get me on upper Big Chute in a different spot. I saw 2 hens and 5 chicks, but no boat launch. So what I had no other option.
Right on.
What's that?
Little poults. Little.
Is that what they were? Yeah. I guess that's what you call them. But so I turned
I had to
back
flex
around
my turkey knowledge.
Yeah, you're a plethora of knowledge, and that means a whole bunch.
Plethora.
So yes. I waited. I had to wait till 8 a.m. until they opened up the boat launch for me to get. I
can only imagine. You would be beside yourself, eh?
What's that?
You would be beside yourself. I can only imagine. Yeah. You'd be pretty hot. You'd be pretty hot to trot.
Yep. I was absolutely not pleased. And you know what? And I didn't even unpack, because I could have saved a little bit of time by unpacking the boat and, getting it ready to launch as soon as they opened up. But I wasn't even certain that I was going to launch there, because the website said 9 a.m. And then the lady pulled in at 8 a.m. So I don't know if the website was wrong or whatnot. But long story short, I didn't get on the water until 8 a.m. this morning. And actually it was 8:20 by the time I actually pulled out of the dock. And I'm thinking, that's 2 good hours of morning topwater, no wind, fishing. And we're not going to have a good day. And boy, was I wrong. But by the time we got the boat off the trailer, from where the boat launches to where my first spot fishing is not that far. And I heard nothing but negativity from the guy that, we were waiting. He was waiting to get on too. And he said, "No, this lake's fished out. There's no fish in it." He says, "I've been here since last Sunday. I haven't caught a thing."
And why is he still there?
Rock bass. And that's what I said. Hunter said the same thing. He says, "I bet you," he said, they didn't say that during the conversation, but afterwards he's like, "I bet you he just didn't want you to fish in this spot." So
yeah. How do you, that's awesome. There's fished out. I would be fishing this thing. I'm waiting an hour for this place to open so I can get in. Yeah. But I would be fishing this freaking lake. I mean, there's only 14 other lakes all around here, but I would not be.
You're on the Trent Severn lock system. You're on the upper portion of the Big Chute. The lower is not that far away. You can get onto any body of water right there within 10, 15 minutes. But he was waiting for it, and so was I. And I launched. And when I started down this journey of rebuilding this boat, the only thing I had in my mind, and I kept saying it over and over and over again, was launching on Upper Big Chute in the public launch. Well, that didn't happen, but it doesn't matter. Launching on Upper Big Chute, taking my trolling motor, going around this little island that I know it's full of down stumps and logs and flooded docks that are submerged from years and years of not use. And I'm thinking, this is exactly what I have in mind. Taking my baitcaster out with the rattling chug bug, throwing it into this lily pads and getting a big bass to hit on that. And if I'm lying, I'm crying, and I ain't shed a tear. That's exactly how it happened. Exactly how it happened.
That's awesome.
It was picture perfect, and I sent you the picture of the fish I caught.
Oh, it was good.
That sucker was a monster for the first fish that was landed in the boat after it was been rebuilt. It kind of set the tone for the morning. I threw that rattling chug bug out there into probably about 3 feet of water. It's right next to a lily pad. I did 2 jerks on it, and it just disappeared. You could see the big mouth come up and rolled right over on top of it. And it took it underneath, and I set the hook, and game on. Absolutely game on. He jumped, and
did you scream like a schoolgirl?
No, I was elated. I just could not have been any more elated. I was, you couldn't, like you're saying, you couldn't knock the smile off my face with a golf shoe. It was just one of those things that I said to Hunter, I can go home now. It was,
done deal.
That's how perfect it was.
Yep. So done deal. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I put the live well in there. I turned the live well on. It worked perfectly, and it filled up way faster than I thought it was gonna. So I kind of flooded the boat a little bit and had to use the bilge. But those are almost guy moments, right? I mean, I didn't know. I didn't know how fast the live was going to fill up.
Did you call your dad?
No, not this time. I didn't tell him that one. I'm going to tell him that one later on. But that's I filled the live well up. It worked perfectly. I used the recirculation pump I put in. It worked perfectly. And by the end of the day, we hit half dozen spots, and Hunter and I were kind of going back and forth. He'd catch one, I'd catch one. And, from 8 till 11:30, we kind of, the storm was rolling in again. It was starting to get windy and started to get a little bit nasty up here. And we said, okay, before it gets too bad, let's get ourselves off the water. And we were actually off the water by about, 12:15 or something like that. Yeah. And I caught 7 and he caught 6, I think, or 6 or 5, and we brought home 4.
That's
between the 2 of us.
Day.
So yeah, so we and there was another one of those good teaching experience where he filleted 2 fish on his own. First time that I taught him last summer, and this is the first time he wanted to take care of it on his own, and he did a great job. He was right into it, from helping clean up the boat at the end to taking the fish out to the bush. You know what I mean? The whole experience.
Yeah, right. He was
right there. Washing the dishes that we made a mess of in the kitchen, so Mom didn't have to do that after. So,
well, that's just a sensitive son. I'd do the same thing.
Yeah, I'm sure that would be the first thing on your list. Wash dishes. Yeah. So, anyways, the boat, the Redneck yacht, which I even got a comment from somebody when I was pulling the boat out of the water. The guy kind of chuckled and gave me the head nod. Yeah, Redneck yacht. That's pretty cool, he says. So I said, yeah, it's my baby. I said, we got her all back together and finally on the water, and I couldn't be any happier with how the morning went. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, there you go. There's my fishing story. So,
and look at that. We got all kinds of time left for Dad. Dad, what did you get up to this week?
Well, I'm going to start out by saying that once you're my age and retired, your weekly routines do not change a whole lot.
Oh, we got into this at the Gun Club Wednesday night. I'm sorry I asked, Bill. Well, that's a great podcast.
I will tell you a story, and it starts at the Gun Club on Wednesday night. Our good friend Bob was explaining to different people about how busy he was, and he says to me, he's done. Am I right? When you're retired, you got no time left. You got no time at all. You can't fit anything in. And I said, you're right, Bob. But people won't believe it. But I'm telling you, yeah, you're right. It's true. And of course, Todd, he's got a comment, and so Bob looked at him and he says, Todd, I know this is your dad, and you're not going to believe him. And it might sound strange to you, but I'm telling you, when you get our age and you get into the routines, our routines are important and our bodies just seem to work a whole lot better. So stop disrupting our routines.
Well, I had to chime in. I said, no. He says, I whacked him, Bill. How's that? I whacked him. He just hit me.
I whacked him.
I'm calling CAS.
I whacked him.
You need to carry a fly swatter with you. Every time he steps on the line,
I'm going to have to put the podcast on hold. I'm calling child services.
He said,
I've just been hit.
Yeah. He said, when you get up at a certain time and you have your coffee at a certain time and your breakfast at a certain time, you do things at a certain time, your day, you get in a routine, your body works better, you function better, and stop messing up our routines. So my routine on Monday mornings,
nap.
It's an extra long walk listening to
followed by a
podcast for the week that's been released. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to enjoy hearing this podcast because last week's podcast was our guest was Travis T-Bone Turner. And I enjoyed listening to it all over again. I mean, I was laughing and enjoying the whole thing again. And
he's like those weird dudes you see walking down the street that laughing to themselves.
Yeah, I was laughing at the podcast.
Right? Walking along and anyway.
I don't care. I was enjoying it. And then I'm sitting here thinking through this podcast, you know what? Since Todd's done that tournament, I've heard that story over 6 freaking times.
Quit asking.
He told me. I heard it when he told my wife. I heard it when he told his wife. I heard it when he told Bill in the car. I heard it when he was telling the guys at the gun club. And so I'm sitting here listening to this thing, and I think my routine's going to change Monday morning because I'm certainly going to fast forward through the first half of this freaking podcast because I don't need to hear that again. It's going to be a short walk on Monday.
I'm kind of hurt from that. I'm going to go sit in a corner.
And, like my Monday morning's podcast, Tuesday's open, Wednesday's shoot night, Thursday's podcast night, Friday is takeout supper night, and then Saturday's it is takeout supper night somewhere different with my wife and her sister. Like, it's routine.
Tough
and
life.
So Thursday night, I said to Glenda, we got to get supper over with pretty quickly here. We said, because I got to head out of here at 5.
This one's your fault, Bill. And he better hit you the next time he sees you.
Will you stop interrupting? So I walked over here on Thursday night and Todd's truck isn't here. So I find the wife and the kids all in the backyard and where's Todd? She says, I have no idea. Last time I heard from him, he was in Long Point.
So he didn't even tell you?
He didn't even tell me. So I just texted him.
That is not my fault.
No, that's all you, Bill, because I didn't cancel it.
Now,
you canceled it.
I did get in I got in 21,000 steps because that gives me more time to walk that night because I walk here and walk home. But now I've got a whole hour that I can walk. So I just texted him and I said, Todd, well, I guess I won't make my tea and I guess I'll just walk on back home. And I left it at that. So
I'm sure he texted you right back.
No, I was hooking into fish. I mean, they turned on in the last 2 hours.
And so here I am now. My routine got disrupted tonight because I had to call my sister-in-law and tell her we're going to get takeout at our favorite restaurant at 6 instead of 7 because I got to walk over to the podcast tonight. And I've had my tea. So what I'm going to do now at the end of the podcast is take my tea bag and my teacup and take it upstairs, put the tea bag in the garbage and the teacup in the dishwasher. And I refuse to leave it down here with the lineup of used cups that he has not bothered to take up and put in the dishwasher.
There are no used cups.
That's his routine.
There's 3 that I can see.
Take a month, leave it down.
That one is from Avery and it has flowers in it.
Yeah, and you ought to see these flowers. You can't even tell they're flowers anymore. Been there for 2 months.
And that one, you normally come down and clean up the cup, so I left it for you. If I don't, he has nothing to do in the day when he's over here helping with the kids' homeschooling. So if I don't, then he's like, well, did you take those cups out of the sink? Yeah. Well, what am I going to do now? You could start your nap early.
So I'm serious, Bill.
Wow.
He's getting whacked from now on. I didn't whack him when he said about taking stuff for the dishwasher too. Like he thinks about doing that. I thought there's a note lie. And I could have whacked him then, but I thought, no, I'm going to save it for the podcast. First time he interrupts me, I'm whacking him. And I did. And from now on,
for you.
That's the way it's going to be. Don't interrupt my routine.
It's on record.
And I will be fast forwarding through half of that broadcast Monday morning because I don't need that story again.
Well,
so there you go.
That's awesome.
Week. And I had a request to take my hot rod to a business and where I had the tires and I did they took pictures and they're going to put it on their website. And then where we have supper on Friday nights, they want me to drive it down and have supper in the hot rod so that they can take pictures and put it on their website. And it's been raining every Friday night since.
Oh, yeah.
And the last 2 weeks it's been rain. In fact, today I was going to get it out today, and every time I turn around, a cloud over it rain. I can't get caught in the rain, so I haven't been able to get the car out. And then having my routines interrupted. It's just been a rough cotton picking week.
Well, I apologize for putting I mean, I know Todd's not going to apologize to you for standing you up, but I apologize in advance. So we'll make next week to make for sure it's a Thursday night.
I don't know why it got canceled, but I do know.
It's all Bill.
I do know, Bill, that you would have figured
fishing before
Todd would have let me know.
The podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No question in my mind.
Yeah. You would have let your boy know if something wasn't going to happen. You would have done
Absolutely.
that. Yeah.
No question.
Yeah, exactly.
Wouldn't even have crossed my mind to leave you out of that.
You need to walk anyway. It's part of your routine. I didn't want to mess up your routine so much, so I thought if he at least walked over like we were having the podcast, his routine wouldn't be that interrupted.
Well, guess what happened?
Well, everybody, hope you enjoyed listening to the podcast. The last time you're going to ever hear Dad's voice on it. And
I've got my teacup in hand, just ready to say goodbye.
All right. That was a good chat. I like it when you're able to give Todd a little smacking around there, put him back in his place that way. So,
fortunately, everybody's got to get past all of my talking to get to that. So probably very minimal people will hear it. I'm safe.
Well, gentlemen, great chat tonight again. Hopefully we have some successes from the week and we can have another good conversation on Thursday.
And I'm looking forward to visiting with you face to face in a couple of weeks too, Bill.
Yeah, me too. It's going to go well. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how my shooting is going to be, but at least we can have a good visit.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward. We're shooting tomorrow. Last scheduled interclub tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, we are.
Enjoy.
Yep.
Righto.
Enjoy, and hopefully you can break some targets. We'll chat, eh?
No doubt.
Bye,
awesome.
Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
And that'll do it for this week, folks. For the Redneck Country Podcast, I'm Bill, the Almost Guy Tom.
And I'm Todd. Thanks for listening. And folks, if you want to be part of the podcast or you want to give us some feedback or really contact us about anything, feel free to email us at podcast@theredneckcountry.com. Again, that's podcast@theredneckcountry.com. Thanks for listening. Talk to you again next week.